Go ahead, Jake, get out. Get out of your welding position. Climb out of the jungle gym.
That's how I had to weld those last two things. Matt gave me the worst welds in the entire truck.
Oh, you're out in the sun for 20 minutes and you're complaining. Well, you did bend everything though.
Last few.
You did bend everything.
The hardest positions.
All right, guys, big surprise. Jake is still inside, drinking some coffee, eating some waffles, you know, the usual shenanigans on an early Saturday morning. But today's roll cage day, so we're gonna get started here in the next 30 minutes, and it's gonna be pretty fun. Okay, so the floor is not completely done. We still gotta button up a few caps and a few wedges and do a few things to button it up. That's gonna happen, but we're gonna do the roll cage first because we want to get these broad strokes done. That way, when I leave his house, all the stuff I can't do in my garage, like use the bin tack software and the tube bender and everything else, it needs to be done. So we're gonna knock the roll cage out first today, and then we'll move on to button up the floor, and then we'll make some tube doors on Sunday, probably in the morning for like a little bit before I end up heading out. So it's gonna be a really successful 3-day weekend, but you're gonna have to live with the fact that this video is gonna come out maybe after the 4th or maybe before. I'm not really sure. It's gonna come out combined, so they'll be missing parts in each of them, and you'll see it in the floor video too when randomly there's a whole roll cage done with the floor on the last like few little steps for it. But you know, is what it is. With that being said, design wise, we're going to put a B pillar this point, that point, big U hoop, and we're gonna build off there. I think we're gonna do the front of the cab first and save the back for last because the back's gonna be absurd in a good way. And then we're gonna do an A pillar from this support right here, that support on the side, following the dash, connect the B pillar going, you know, off the very roof line, coming down, windshield into the A pillar, and then maybe one across the brow of the windshield too. And then I think that's gonna be it, because I wanna save this room. I don't wanna do an X right here or anything. I wanna save this for headroom. The back, it's just gonna be following the body lines, figuring out something to do with the trunk, adding some X's, adding some crazy shit, because the back of this, from here, from this 2x2 back is gonna be open, because I think that looks sick. And yeah, it's gonna be open, so the tube design is gonna be pretty cool, and it's gonna be kind of like a little flex on people who don't have a tube bender like me. So for the front, we're gonna make shock hoops. I have Fox 12-inch travel shocks. I'm gonna take the place of these old rusted out shocks, gonna make some hoops, connect the hoop also to the front, make a little pseudo cage around the engine. Nothing crazy, but just enough. It also depends on how much tube we have left, but that's gonna be last. I think I want to do the cab in the front first. That's the design. I know that was a little bit of a rant, but we're gonna go upstairs to Jake and we're gonna figure out how tube bending works and learn a little bit about tube bending software. And then after that, we're just going to put it all together. I think that's the best way to do it.
We're doing just 2 bends for this. This is for edge to edge, this is center, and then this is inner edge. So we'll do what do we measure for the top? Did we measure center?
Huh? We measured the center points on the top.
For the vertical pieces?
Should have been.
No, we'll do centers. Pull it up so you select your material. Doing 175 on my 175 die. It'll be 36 inches tall, 51 inches wide, 53 inches apart.
Jesus. That's just unreal.
That is literally it.
Is it 55 on the bottom, 51 on the top?
53 on the bottom, 51 on the top.
And that's it.
Because that gives us the inch separation.
And it'll give us the bin stuff, the bin specifications to go
so
put on the road. This is not fair.
I'm gonna save that.
This is just not fair. All right.
Didn't fucking measure it.
The hardest one's in. The B pillar's in. We might have messed up the measurements slightly. That's why Jake had to get in there and give it a little kicky poo. And yeah, it's in though. I'm gonna final weld it. I think Jake's gonna get started on the A pillar. I'll help him out when I get done. And we're gonna get in our groove. So we'll check back in when there's some progress made on these this nice little roll cage. I swear we're not gonna kick all of them. Only like half, hopefully. Right?
Right. If you really wanted to go hardcore, well, you do your talking or whatever.
Hey, Jake likes tight fits. Not gonna lie. We got her in. Hit her with a hammer a few times. A-bar's in. B-bar's in. B-bar's final welded. Didn't turn out too bad. It's easy welding the big metal. Way easier than sheet metal welding. So we're gonna weld this one in. I think we're gonna run from that A-pillar. We already drilled holes in the firewall. Run it straight out. Kind of dove nose it into the stinger right here. Put a middle bar with couplers, and then that'll leave room for the headers, and then we can do shock hoops from up here. Got a lot going on. We got the front two structures in place. I got to final weld them. We're looking at a lot of things. We got about 6 hours left of work to do, but that's going to be upright. But it's going to turn into quite a buggy, as what always happens. We're getting carried away, and we're just changing kind of on the go, but it doesn't look bad per se for anything. But I'm going to finish welding the front hoops. We're gonna add a harness bar and start doing the rear. So the rear is where we get some complications, because now we're thinking design, overall design wise, and how big of a buggy do we really want this to look like? Because it's got, you know, it's gonna have engine protection, cab protection, off-road-esque everything, wide open. It's got an LS, like it's got a stinger. It's turning into a buggy. When it gets big tires, it'll look kind of absurd. So what we're thinking about doing, Jake's idea, which I'm kind of falling in love with, is chopping the trunk off. The trunk's destroyed anyways. Like, this is about to snap, and then all this metal, it's like literally just held on by like one rusty piece of like 3/16, whatever the hell that was, structure from the, you know, original 1938 car. But what we're thinking about doing is chop it right at the hood, make a little spaceship body line coming down right here, bring it down straight through the fenders, save most of the fenders, but then chop it and give that little S. It's gonna kind of look like a bullet a little bit, but it'll look like a buggy bullet. And then the rear roll cage, we can do 2 big J hooks, like looping down towards the bottom, and that will be what hits anything first, instead of that rusty trunk metal. All right, don't mind the weed eater, but we're sunburned. We're having a good time. Got like 5 hours left today. We just finished the back hoops. What that entails is, as you can tell, we followed the body lines to where we chopped. Made some new body lines, but we followed them where we chopped. Made these little J hooks, ran them into the main bar, main support. But yeah, take it around to the other side. Jake's been doing all the bending. I've been doing all the welding, so he's not too sunburned, but he's working harder, I think. I'm not really sure, but he just put this harness bar in. That's gonna get welded in next. And I think we're gonna run upper hoops too, but we'll get there when we get there. We got like 5 hours. We're just gonna keep throwing tube at it. We've got 3 more sticks, 10-foot sticks of tube, so we're gonna throw it at it somewhere. All right, so I'm out here welding the skin on the back of this roll bar up here, and we got some hardcore fabrication going on right now. Trying to break the plane, get that notch to fit so we don't have it too short up there, and I think the ratchet strap's the way to go. That concludes the driveway roll cage build of the 1938 Chevy. We'll start from the front with what we did. We started tying into the stinger bumper. That's removable, so the whole body can be removable with the roll cage. We used 2 massive engine hoops that run directly into the firewall and then connect to the A-frame underneath the dash. That A-frame runs directly into the floor support. The floor support is then connected to the rest of the body with 2x2 steel, all welded together. We opted to not run any passenger compartment engine hoops. One, because it would look dumb and it would obscure a lot of the vision, because the pipes can't make this S-bend right here. I'm also 6'4" and headroom's a really big deal for me, so I'm not actively trying to roll this vehicle, so I'm not too worried about it. Plus we'll have tube doors and the rest of the structure should be enough to keep me safe. For the rear was a lot of tubing. That's where the majority of our tubing went. We used about 60 feet of tubing in the rear. The rear consists of the main body support running all the tube, the B pillar connecting all the lateral bars, with C pillars in the rear backing everything up. The cage was mostly Jake's design because he's built a few of these cages before. We kind of just used all the tube, put it where we want it. We created a kind of subfloor for the rear where we can put gas tanks, fuel cells, and electronics. anything we really need. The roof of the rear is supported in all 4 corners going down to the C-pillars. And no, we're not gonna put floorboards in the rear. The body on this 38 Chevy is completely bent and crooked, upside down in some spots. So there's some miscommunications and miserrors and mismeasurements that we had to sleeve, but like I said before, we're not actively trying to roll this vehicle, so we're not too worried about it. It's strong enough for the purpose, and it's still stronger than a Prius. All right, Jake, how do you feel about the cage?
That was a lot of work in one day.
Oh yeah, we also did it in one day. It took us like 10 hours to do this entire cage, which is kind of fun because he was doing the cage, I was buttoning up some of the floor, the rest of like the trans tunnel and some of these like smaller spots, because these are 2 videos in one, but we're not gonna post like that obviously. But so we were multitasking, so we spent 2 days doing substructure of the floor, floors, sheet metal work, and then the whole roll cage, and the whole roll cage happened in a day. So we feel good about it.
It's a good work.
It's a little safe, I think, and the fact of the matter is stiff. You want to see how stiff it is? This thing was sitting on the back axles when I showed up here on the trailer. Sitting on the back axles because the cross member broke. So go ahead and give that little shake. The whole thing jiggles. It's 1 unit now. Also, the motor is solid mounted and the transmission is solid mounted, and so it's really gonna feel like it drives like 1 unit, but that's part of the fun. But yeah, guys, that concludes the roll cage, and I think we're going to move on to tube doors tomorrow and get you guys a video on that. It should be really exciting. Every weekend when Jake and I get to hang out together and build is a good weekend. I think in 2 days we probably spent 20 to 25 hours working, which is a plus, and we also get to see family, so that's what it's all about. Anyways, guys, hope everyone's staying safe from this stupid disease, and I hope you guys have a great day. Not only is this Jake's amazing wife let him buy all these tools and take the whole garage, she also makes really good tortillas, quesadillas, so thanks.